All right, so I'm here to chat about an article that came out in New York Times Magazine this week that was about the New York City subway system. Now, the interesting thing about the New York City subway system is this past summer, it received a lot of news media attention as there was lots and lots of breakdowns, lots of slowdowns, and people are now saying that it's sort of a broken system that can't be fixed. So Jonathan Mahler for the New York Times on January 3rd, 2018 says that the city must rebuild the New York City subway system. And as he goes through and discusses the importance of the subway, eventually he gets to this paragraph here where he begins to introduce us to a very powerful metaphor. And the way he weaves the metaphor into his own description of the subway is what we're going to be really looking at. So I'm just going to take the paragraph from the top. For all the challenges in transportation technology since the first tunnels were dug, the rise of the automobile, the proliferation of bike lanes and ferries, our growing addiction to ride-hailing apps, and dreams of a future filled with autonomous vehicles, the subway remains the only way to move large numbers of people around the city. Today, New York subway carries close to 6 million people every day, more than twice the entire population of Chicago. The subway may no longer be a technological marvel, but it continues to perform a daily magic trick. It brings people together, but it also spreads people out. It is this paradox, these constant expansions and contractions, like a beating heart, that keeps the human capital flowing and the city growing. So the sentence that I've highlighted here, I feel like is a very masterful, complex sentence that he's introduced. I love how he starts us off with how it brings people together and spreads people out. And then he uses the words expansions, contractions, and only after that together, spreading people out, expansions, contractions, does he mention his metaphor of the subway as a beating heart. And then he can sort of build off of it with flowing and growing. If you're really going to interweave a powerful metaphor into your writing like this one, that the subway is a beating heart, you really need to be thinking about what other verbs, what other vocabulary, what other nouns are associated with that metaphor. Here we have the beating heart, but that is kind of introduced close to the end of this metaphor. Before that, we get a expansion, contraction. And after that, we get flowing. So if you really want to make an effective metaphor in your writing, once the metaphor occurs to you, start looking at other words that are associated with the thing that you're bringing in, the metaphor, the object that you're comparing your subject to. And see if you can begin to interweave some of these other words associated with the metaphor into the writing. That's really how you successfully embed a powerful metaphor into some nonfiction text. Hope this was helpful. This is Craftbox for January 7th, 2018.